Hello, in this tutorial we're going to work on InDesign CC 2021 Classroom and Book Chapter 4. This is part number 4 about working with objects. When we just finished off, we had just played with some of our images. We had added some images to our newsletter. We did some wrapping. So now we're going to go ahead and play with transforming some shapes. So we're going to combine some shapes with other shapes. So if we look at, let's do our Control Alt 0 and look at the whole thing. We want to go ahead and go to this sunflower up here. We want to actually make some text come through here. And the easiest way to do that is to combine these two shapes. I'm going to do Control plus, kind of bring it over a little bit. So now let's go ahead and make sure we unlock our background layer. And we want to kind of work on our background layer so that our next object will be on there. We want to, actually we're on the wrong page. We want to go to, I got to the sunflower too soon. We're going to be on this one. All right, so what we want to do is create this white part of the cutout on this page. So rather than put a white box on top, we're actually going to turn the purple into kind of an upside down U-top. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and grab our rectangle tool. We're making sure we're on our background layer because we want to cut out of that one. We've got our rectangle tool and we want to go ahead and draw a box around this story. So let's go ahead and start. Let's start. Where do we want to start? We'll go a little above it and down. It doesn't matter if you go down past the corner. So it's going to turn into kind of a gray box, which isn't quite what we want, but we're going to fix it. So we're going to switch to the selection tool. And then we're going to hit shift and grab that purple box at the same time. So now we're saying what we're going to do is going to work with both of those text frames at the same time. Let's go to Window. Let's go to Object and Layout and come down here to Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is going to pop up another palette for us. And we want to choose the second option in the Pathfinder, which is Subtract. So we're saying take the rectangle away from the purple. So we're going to tell it that, and it's going to go ahead and cut that out for us. So now we have excluded that area from where that rectangle used to be. So let's talk a little bit more about the Pathfinder. Let's come over here to kind of our pasteboard. Let's go ahead and grab a rectangle of your choice. And let's go ahead and give it a fill color so it actually has one. This is just for fun and playing. This does not have to go in your newsletter, but I do want you to play with it. Let's grab an ellipse. If you hold the shift with your ellipse, then you'll get a perfect circle. I'm going to let go of my mouse, let go of my shift. So now I've got these two elements. I'm going to grab my selection tool and highlight both of them. So depending on which part of the Pathfinder, I can combine these two. So I can make them one single shape. Control Z to undo. I can subtract, so take away the bottom one from the top one. Undo. I can leave just the middle part where they overlap. I can cut out just the center section, or I can cut out just the top. So good way to make a pie chart. So there's quite a few different things you can do with the Pathfinder. Sometimes when you're making shapes, the easiest way to think about it is what has been taken out and how can I create that shape. Just kind of one of those things to play with and think about as you're developing your own style. We're going to go ahead and close that Pathfinder and do a Control S and save so I can actually see what you did over here on the side. Actually, mine doesn't even show, but leave it so you've got something going on. And I'm going to do Control minus, do a view, fit, spread, and window. And now we're going to go up to this sunflower. So with the sunflower, we want to make sure that we are, and let's go ahead and relock that background layer so we don't accidentally play with it again. Now we're going to go to our selection tool. We're going to grab our graphic of the sunflower. You can see we're going to switch to that layer. And we're going to click on the purple flower, or the purple circle, and then we're going to shift click the photo as well. So now we're collecting both of them. Now we're going to go to Object, path, make compound path. So what we're doing is saying, take the middle out, and now you can see underneath we have this text going on. So what I want you to see is if I actually drag this along, I'm going to get just the image. So that please join us underneath is separate. I'm going to do Control Z until I put it back. All right, let's do a Control S and save it. And that will make us very, very happy. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and play with some shapes. So page 3 of our newsletter is kind of boring. We need something here. So we're going to go ahead and add some shapes. We're going to go ahead to our layers and make sure that we are in the graphics layer. All right, so in the purple area, we're going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. So I had an ellipse, here's a rectangle. And I want my rectangle to be about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and I can kind of eyeball it with my numbers there, or I can go in and my W and do 0.5 and do a tab and a 0.5, and it's automatically going to create that for me. And let's go ahead and fill it with white instead of with gray, so paper. And I decide, hey, I don't like this box. I want it to be something else. So rather than redraw it, I can go to Object. I can go Convert Shape. And let's go ahead and make it an ellipse instead. Remember, an ellipse is a circle. And it's still going to maintain that 1/2 inch. And if it didn't, we can make it 1/2 inch. Not sure when I messed with it, but I must have touched it just a little bit. All right, so now I have a perfect 1/2 inch. So now I want to go ahead and create a bunch of dots here. So rather than cut and paste, we're going to use the software to do it for us. So let's do Edit. Let's come down here to Step and Repeat. Make sure your preview is turned on. And in our offset for vertical, let's go ahead and make that 0. For horizontal, we want it to be 0.625. And we want to have 12 of them. So see how this is automatically doing all that work for you. And let's say OK. So now I've got 12 repeats, and decide maybe I don't like all of them. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple out. So I'm going to take off this first one and hit delete, and maybe I'm going to hit this one in between here, hit delete. And you're going to say, well, what did you just do that for? You've got, now it's all funky and weird. So we can actually drag across all these because the background is locked, and we're going to let the software straighten this out for us a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our align tools. So we're going to go up into either the align up here, or you can go to Window, Object, and Align, and pop open that panel. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down right over here. I'm going to close that Pathfinder. So with the Align, I want to go ahead and do Distribute Horizontal Centers, which is going to be, that's vertical, there's horizontal. So it's going to go ahead and spread those out based on that page. And let's see, let's move you out of the way a little bit. So now I can go ahead, maybe I want to move them over just a little tiny bit so it's part on the page. Up to you as to how you're going to put them. And now I can decide, hey, I don't love the circles. Maybe I want them to be something else. So let's go ahead and go to our window and properties. All right, so properties, it's going to pop open quite a few things. And under our quick actions, which are right here, we want the one called convert shape. And on that convert shape, let's go ahead and tell it to be triangles. So you can see how easy it is to make those little changes in your designs really, really easily, and to multiple items at one time. So let's go ahead and do a file, an edit, deselect. What am I doing? Yep, there we go, deselect all, and a Control S to save. And we're going to do a couple more things before we go on to the next part. All right, so let's go to our page number 1. So I'm going to go to Pages, go to page number 1, and I want to go ahead and make this object a little bit more round. But in order to do that, I need to unlock that layer. So I need to go here to my text layer. And now when I click on it, it will allow me to click. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, Control plus. And what I really want you to be able to see is this yellow box right here. By hitting this yellow box, it's going to allow us to round these corners. So I'm going to hit to edit the corners. And now I can take and drag it in. Nope, that's rotate. Yeah, I can zoom in, Control plus. Oh, somehow I turned my text tool on. There we go. All right, so I've got that. Going to do the corners. And now I want to drag it in. And it's going to drag in those corners. So if you can see all 4 are going at once. If you just wanted to do one, you could just do Shift and grab that yellow, and just one of them would be bigger than the others. So you can see you have the ability to create some kind of complex shapes that you might not have thought of, but make it a little bit more fun to look at. Let's do Control S and save. And let's go ahead and cut this one for now, and I'll pick you up on the next one.